If you start setting boundaries, you will have more space and more time in your life for yourself and for the people that you love, and it will help you to prioritize and actually have time to focus on the things that are important to you. Hello and welcome to Not Your Forever Job, the show that helps you figure out what you want in your career, where you're heading, and how to make it happen. I am Hayley Loren, an engineer and career coach, and today on this show we are chatting about boundaries and setting boundaries so you can get time freedom. Yes, I think we all want more time in our lives, don't we? Now, if you listen to last week's episode, then you'll know that boundaries are a really, really important tool for getting kind of a work-life balance. And before I actually started setting boundaries in my life, I was very much a yes person, a people pleaser, and I spent so much of my time giving it to other people. I was just spending it everywhere. So you have to think of your time a bit like money, right? You only have so much in your account, and if you go around with your debit card kind of like tapping away, oh, that looks shiny, oh, that looks good, oh yes, I'll have that, then eventually you're going to run into the red, right? And that is the same thing that will happen if you keep tapping away your time. And it's the same with your energy as well. You only have so much energy that you can give out into the world on a particular day, on any day. And remember that energy also flows. It's not like you have the same amount of energy every single day. It might be that, there are particular weeks or times when you have more or less energy to give out. So if you're just not conscious of where that's going, if you just spend it without even really thinking about it, then you're gonna end up in like time debt or energy debt, just like you would with money, right? So this is why setting boundaries is so important. Now, a boundary is basically a line that you set for yourself or for other people, where it's like, I am not gonna cross over that line. So for instance, an example for yourself could be, I am not going to sit up until midnight watching The Walking Dead. I love that show. Or any other show that you're kind of obsessed with. You're going to say, okay, my boundary is I'm going to set my alarm on my clock for 9 p.m. and then I'm going to start my bedtime routine at 9 p.m. so that I can get a good night's sleep. That is a boundary. If you don't set those sort of boundaries, then yeah, you're going to sit there and watch TV, and then you're going to wake up feeling really tired the next day. A boundary for other people could be like, imagine one of your friends phones you all the time. And she phones you at work, and she phones you kind of at the weekends when you're wanting to do your own time, but you feel guilty because she's going through a really hard time, right? So you want to be there for her or him. But, if you give yourself to them all of the time, you're not going to have anything left for you. So it's important that you try and implement a boundary where you can say to them, look, I love you and I am here for you. I can't speak to you during work though, because I really need to focus on that. And on this particular evening is when I do this. So, if you need me, I'm always here for me. And if it's urgent, just send me a message and I will contact you as soon as I can. Put it back onto your terms, because, we all want to be good kind of siblings and friends, or, husbands and wives and everything. We all want to be able to show up for the people that we love. But in order to be able to do that fully, you need to look after yourself too. So important. It's just like when you go on a plane and they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first, right? It's the same thing. You need to put on your oxygen mask, and you need to set those boundaries, and you need to kind of be really conscious of where you're spending your time, okay? So in order to put this into action, I've just got a few really simple steps that you can go through, because I'm all about action, right? At the end of every single one of these episodes, there is always an action that you can take to actually start implementing this into your life. And I can promise you, if you start setting boundaries, you will have more space and more time in your life for yourself and for the people that you love. And it will help you to prioritize and actually have time to focus on the things that are important to you. So if you have an ambition or a dream to start a business or to have a side project or to, I don't know, start a new hobby, but you feel like you don't have much time, this is where boundaries are really going to help you. And without them, you can end up feeling burnt out. It's where illness comes in, and it's where, you can start to feel really low and deflated. And it's not the sort of thing either. You have to be wary, because just because you set boundaries, you might be thinking, sitting there listening to this, like, oh, but I do set boundaries. I know about boundaries, all of this. I do too, but I still find myself in like a week or something feeling exhausted. And then if I look back on the week, I'm like, oh, it's because, I did this when I knew that I needed to do this for myself. And those tendencies to people please and that kind of push to succeed and to constantly drive yourself forward, if you're that sort of person, it's always going to be there. So it's really sneaky. You have to be very aware and conscious of it every single week and every single day, because it will just sneak up on you. And it does for me still. Even though I'm here teaching this, I'm teaching it because it's something that I live and I breathe every single day. And I will slip up with this as well. Okay. So let's just go through a couple of these steps so that you can actually start implementing this. And if you already do set boundaries, I think it would be really useful for you to just kind of go through it and think, okay, is there anything new in my life that I need to be aware of? So step number 1 is brainstorm. I love a good brainstorm. I just want you to write down everything in your life that saps your time and your energy or leaves you feeling frustrated, anything that makes you feel low. So it could be anything. It could be spending time with particular people. We all have people in our lives, or have done in the past, I know I have, where you're with them and you actually end up leaving feeling more tired than when you turned up. And that's because there's somebody that kind of saps energy. And I know that might sound a little bit mean, but it's kind of true. And it's important to surround yourself with people who lift you up, who make you feel good, not people who make you feel low. And, it's not your responsibility to lift everybody up. It's your responsibility to live your life and to go after what you want. And also, obviously, support your friends and everything. So it's down to you to kind of figure out whether people in your life are just going through a hard time and you need to be there for them, or if they're just energy drainers, energy sappers, and they always have been and they always will be. And then it's a difficult kind of decision with yourself to be like, okay, do I need to separate myself from them? You don't need to ditch them. It's just being mindful of it and protecting yourself. It's just making sure that you maybe show up to them when you have more energy, so that if you turn up to them on a bad day, then you're going to end up feeling worse. So it's just being aware of those sorts of things. Okay, so people is a really, really big one. Another thing can be kind of your work, right? Like working on a busy project, or working with a very difficult boss or a toxic boss. If you can end up plowing all of your time and energy and giving your soul to a company, but at the end of the day, they are a business. This isn't the love of your life, and unless it's actually your own business as well, then you need to protect yourself. Well, you always need to protect yourself, but there might be a way that you can implement more boundaries. Maybe there could be one day where you can say, okay, I will not work late on a Wednesday because I want that as me time, like time for myself. Okay, I want you to brainstorm as much as you can actually think of. So some other examples, I kind of jotted some down earlier, are like staying up late. I mentioned watching TV earlier. So if you're somebody who tends to be on your phone a lot, watching TV late, or, hanging out with friends when or feeling obligated and saying yes to hang out with people when actually secretly you just want to be at home and have a bath and relax. Being able to say no is so important. So brainstorm as many of these as possible. So that's the first step. The second step, I want you to kind of put all of these in order. So just number them off in order of the ones that actually kind of sap the most of your energy and your time, which are the biggest time and energy wasters. Okay, so that's the next step. And the last step then is to focus on those top 3. I want you to come up with one boundary that you can implement to protect yourself from the top 3 kind of time and energy wasters, okay? So have a think about it. It might include having kind of a kind conversation with somebody saying, please don't phone me at this time, I'll phone you back. Or telling your boss, as I said, I need to go home early on this particular day because I now have personal appointments. It can be anything at all, okay? But take that action, actually implement it and see how it can shift, right? Be mindful of it and kind of play around with it over this next week or 2 to see how you can actually get more time in your life by putting in these very important protective barriers around yourself. Amazing. Well done. If you are doing that right now, amazing. If you can't because you're driving, you're running or something like that, then no worries. Just remember that you want to do it later. Make sure you do. It will only take you 5 minutes. Like, this is something that I do. It takes me less than 5 minutes even. I just do a really terrible scribbly kind of spider diagram. So easy. And I think there's 2 episodes that I think could be really beneficial if you've not listened to these already. So the first one is episode 14, which is all about planning, which is so important. And I do talk about time blocking and boundaries in that one. And another episode is episode 20, which is all about kind of happy mindset tools, because keeping a positive mindset and bringing more kind of positivity in your life is going to help you move forward in your career and take more action and actually create the career that you want. It's so, so important. Now, I really want to hear from you. I would love to know if you are struggling with anything or if you've got any questions at all. Just email me, because I want to start basically answering your questions on this show, okay? Kind of like a Q&A. So do get in touch with me. I'll put my email just below. So it's hayley@hayleyloren.com. Also, you can head over to my website where you can get a free downloadable career clarity kind of starter guide. So if you're in a place where you're feeling a bit low, or you don't really, you got like a niggling feeling in your stomach that your job isn't quite right or you want something different, this starter guide is going to help you begin to get some clarity so that you can kind of figure out where you're going and what you want to do. So just go on over. It's really simple, really easy. Just head to my website, which is below. And that's it for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been amazing, and I will chat to you next week. Bye.